Translation apps are supposed to help people understand each other. A few words, a few sentences, that's all. But what if your phone started translating things that nobody said? Messages that weren't there, languages that don't exist, conversations you were never part of. Because sometimes, the strangest part isn't what gets translated. It's who, or what, is trying to communicate. These are 5 translation app horror stories that felt a little too real. Story 1. Unknown language. I only downloaded the app because of university. That was it. Nothing interesting. One of my modules had international students from all over the world, and every now and then I'd use a translation app to help communicate with someone. Most of the time it was simple stuff. Directions, food, basic conversations. Nothing unusual. Which is why I didn't think twice about helping the old man. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I was walking back from campus when I saw him standing outside a pharmacy. Late 70s, maybe older. Gray coat, small glasses. He looked confused. People walked around him without stopping. Eventually he approached me. He spoke quickly. I didn't understand a word. The accent sounded unfamiliar. Not French, not Spanish, not Arabic. Nothing I recognized. I apologized and pulled out my phone. No English. He shook his head. So I opened my translation app. Conversation mode. He spoke into the microphone. The app loaded, then displayed. Language not recognized. I frowned. That was odd. Normally it detected something. Anything. But this time, nothing. The old man smiled politely and tried again. Same result. Language not recognized. Eventually he pointed at a medicine box in the pharmacy window. I figured he wanted help buying something. I brought him inside. The pharmacist understood him immediately. Apparently he just wanted painkillers. 5 minutes later he thanked me and left. That was it. Or so I thought. That evening, around 11 p.m., I opened the translation app again and froze. Because the conversation history showed an entry I definitely hadn't made. Timestamp, 6:42 p.m. Exactly when I'd helped the old man. Source language, unknown. Translation, thank you for stopping. I frowned. Weird. Maybe it had partially recorded something. Not creepy, just strange. I deleted it. Went to sleep. The next morning another entry appeared. Timestamp, 3:16 a.m. Source language, unknown. Translation, you sleep with the window open. My stomach tightened. Because it was true. I always slept with the bedroom window slightly open. Still, I convinced myself somebody had hacked the app. Some stupid bug. I deleted the entry. Changed my password. Forgot about it. Until the following night. Around midnight I was watching YouTube in bed when a notification appeared. New translation available. I frowned. The app wasn't even open. Curious, I tapped it. Timestamp, 11:58 p.m. Source language, unknown. Translation, the video is too loud. My heart skipped. Because YouTube was playing. And yes, I turned the volume up. I immediately looked around my room. Nothing. Apartment empty. Doors locked. Everything normal. I checked permissions. Microphone access disabled. Camera disabled. Background refresh disabled. There was no reason the app should even be active. Yet somehow it knew. I deleted the translation. Then sat awake until 2 a.m. Nothing happened. Eventually I slept. The next morning another message waited. Timestamp, 2:43 a.m. Translation, you snore less when you sleep on your left side. I genuinely felt sick. Because nobody should know that. Nobody. Over the next week the entries continued. Always in the middle of the night. Always from an unknown language. And always accurate. Small observations. Nothing threatening. At least not initially. You forgot to charge your phone. True. The neighbor's dog barks too much. Also true. You should buy milk tomorrow. The carton in my fridge had expired. Eventually curiosity outweighed fear. I stopped deleting them. Instead I started reading them. Almost treating them like reminders. Then they changed. Monday, translation, you should close the curtains. Tuesday, don't sit so close to the window. Wednesday, some people notice things. That one bothered me a lot. By Thursday I was sleeping badly, checking locks, closing curtains, jumping at every noise. And every morning another message waited. Then came the one that truly scared me. Friday, 3:11 a.m. Translation, the man across the street can see your bed. My blood ran cold. I slowly walked to the curtains, pulled them aside, and froze. Because in the apartment building opposite mine, one window remained illuminated, and standing there, perfectly still, was a silhouette, facing my building, facing my room. I immediately shut the curtains, heart pounding. For the first time, I considered deleting the app completely, and I almost did, but part of me wanted answers. So instead, I enabled notifications. If the messages appeared live, I wanted to know. Saturday night, 1:37 a.m. Notification, new translation available. I opened it immediately. Translation, you are drinking water. I slowly looked down, glass in hand. My chest tightened. Another notification, you should go to bed. Then another, you look tired. And another, turn off the lights. The notifications appeared one after another, live, every 30 seconds. My hands shook, because they were describing what I was doing. In real time, I switched off the lamp. Immediately. Buzz. New translation. Better. My heart hammered. I unplugged the router. Disabled Wi-Fi. Airplane mode. Everything. Buzz. Another notification. No signal. No internet. Yet somehow it arrived. Translation. Thank you. Then another. Good night. And finally, see you tomorrow. I deleted the app. Factory reset my phone. Changed devices entirely. And for 2 months, nothing happened. No strange messages. No unknown translations. No problems. Eventually I relaxed. Until one afternoon at university. A Chinese exchange student sat beside me. She struggled to explain something and handed me her phone. Can you help? She asked. I took it, opened her translation app, and froze. Because the most recent translation wasn't Chinese or English. The source language simply read, unknown, timestamp, 1 minute ago. And the translated message said, he looks healthier now. Story 2, conversation mode. I started using conversation mode because of a holiday. Nothing creepy, nothing unusual, just convenience. I spent 2 weeks in Japan during the summer and relied heavily on a translation app, especially the conversation mode. You know the feature. You speak, the other person speaks, and the app automatically translates both sides. Restaurants, taxi drivers, hotel staff. It worked perfectly. By the end of the trip, I almost forgot it existed. Then I came home, back to Manchester, back to university, back to normal life. And for nearly a month, I never opened the app. Until one night, around 1 a.m., I was sitting alone in my apartment watching YouTube when I heard something. Not from outside, not from the TV, from my phone. A voice, very quiet. The translation app had somehow opened itself. Conversation mode. The microphone icon glowed, and words appeared on the screen. English, then Japanese, then English again. But I hadn't said anything. The translated sentence read, "He's still awake." I frowned. The app immediately replied, "Yes." My stomach tightened. 2 people. The app was translating a conversation. Except I lived alone, and nobody had spoken. I force-closed the app, went to bed, forgot about it, or tried to. The following afternoon I received a notification. Conversation available. I tapped it. Nothing loaded. No recordings. No history. No transcript. Strange, but harmless. Then 3 nights later, it happened again. 1:18 a.m. Conversation mode activated by itself. The microphone glowed. Words appeared. Is he sleeping? Then, After a few seconds, "Not yet." I sat upright, heart racing, because I hadn't heard any voices. The room was silent, yet the app acted as if two people were talking nearby. I deleted the app. Problem solved. Or so I thought. 2 days later I reinstalled it. Not because I needed it, but because curiosity got the better of me. I wanted answers. That same night, 1:18 a.m., conversation mode opened automatically. This time I stayed still. The screen translated. His listening. Pause. Then, he deleted us. Another pause. He brought us back. My blood ran cold. I immediately switched the phone off. Completely. Screen black. No power. Nothing. Then I heard the notification sound. My heart nearly stopped. The phone had turned itself back on. Conversation mode remained open. Another sentence appeared. There. I stared. Another message. He heard that. I slept with the lights on. The next morning I contacted support. The representative blamed background noise, software errors, corrupted cache, typical explanations. I accepted them, because I wanted to, but things became impossible to ignore. Over the next week, conversation mode activated 5 times, always after midnight, always when I was alone, and always the same 2 participants. One seemed curious, the other calm, like they knew each other, like they were discussing something routine. Sometimes the sentences made no sense. He moved the chair. The light is different tonight. He's eating again. And every single statement was true. Then one night I decided to test it. At 1 a.m., I sat in complete darkness. No TV, no music, no sound whatsoever. I opened conversation mode myself, placed the phone on the table, and waited. Nothing. 10 minutes passed. Then suddenly, a sentence appeared. Why is he doing this? Another one immediately followed. Because he knows now. My hands shook. Because nobody had spoken. Nobody. Then I spoke. Who are you? Nothing happened. No translation. No response. I tried again. Can you hear me? Still nothing. Then 30 seconds later, words appeared. No. Pause. Not him. I froze. Another sentence. He doesn't sound like the other one. My chest tightened. The other one. I stared at the phone. Then another message appeared. Ask him. Followed by, he's sleeping. I genuinely felt sick. Because I wasn't asleep. I was sitting right there, wide awake, looking directly at the screen. The following morning, I went through every conversation log. And that's when I noticed something disturbing. There were hundreds. Not 5. Not 10. Hundreds. Most had no timestamps. No recordings. No participants. Just translated text. Page after page. Weeks. Months. Even dates before my trip. Then I reached the oldest one. Timestamp. 3 years earlier. Long before I downloaded the app. Long before I even owned the phone. The first sentence read, "Is this him?" Response, "No." Then, "Wait." The next page. 1 year later. "What about this one?" Still no. Then another. And another. Every few months. Like someone searching. Until I reached the first entry made after my Japan trip. The date I landed back in England. The sentence read, "There." And beneath it, "That's him." I threw the phone away that same night. Bought a new one. New number. New accounts. Everything. And for 6 months. Nothing. No conversations. No translations. Nothing strange. Until last week. I was sitting on the tram, heading into the city. The woman opposite me was using her phone. Nothing unusual. Until I heard the notification sound. My stomach tightened. Because I recognized it immediately. Translation app. Conversation mode. Her screen lit up, and I accidentally glanced over. I wish I hadn't, because I saw the translated sentence before she quickly closed the app. It said, "No." Then another appeared. "That's not him." And one final sentence. One that made my blood run cold. Because it appeared just before she looked directly at me. He's over there. Story 3. Camera translation. I found the sign completely by accident. It wasn't even why I was there. A couple of friends and I had driven out to an old abandoned railway station about an hour outside Manchester. Nothing illegal. The place wasn't fenced off. It had been shut down decades ago and was mostly just overgrown platforms and graffiti now. The sort of place urban explorers posted online all the time. By midnight, everyone else had gone back to the car. I stayed behind, just taking photos. I liked old places. That's all. The station itself was quiet. No wind, no traffic, nothing. Just the occasional sound of dripping water somewhere in the darkness. That's when I noticed the sign. It hung crooked above an old maintenance door. Most of the paint had faded. The writing looked foreign. Not graffiti. Actual lettering. Maybe Eastern European. Maybe German. I had no idea. Out of curiosity, I opened my translation app. Camera mode. I pointed it toward the sign. The usual blue overlay appeared. Processing. Then the translation popped up. And I frowned. Because it didn't make sense. Instead of translating the sign, the app displayed, "Don't go down there." I lowered the phone, looked at the sign, raised it again. The translation changed. Normal words. Something about railway equipment. I laughed. Probably a bug. Took a picture and headed back to the car. I forgot about it. Until the next morning. While scrolling through the photos, I stopped. My stomach tightened. Because the image of the sign looked different. Not the sign itself. The translation overlay. The words "Don't go down there" remained visible in the photo. But that shouldn't have been possible. The overlay wasn't saved. It only appeared live. Yet there it was, embedded into the image. I showed it to my friend Ryan. He shrugged. Probably a software thing. Fair enough. That's what I thought too. Until later that night. I was taking a picture of my dinner for Snapchat. Nothing special. I checked the image afterward. And froze. In the bottom corner sat a translation overlay. Tiny. Almost transparent. It read, "You burn everything." I frowned. There was no foreign text anywhere. No labels. Nothing. The overlay shouldn't have activated. I deleted the image. Forgot about it. The next day I took a photo of my lecture timetable. Same thing. Small translation box. Different words. "You're late again." By Friday, it had happened 7 times. Random pictures. Random phrases. None physically present. And every message somehow referred to me. Not the surroundings. Meh. I disabled camera permissions. Problem solved. Or so I thought. That Saturday evening, I was watching football when my phone buzzed. Photo memories. 1 year ago. I tapped it absent-mindedly. The image showed me standing outside Old Trafford. Except a translation overlay sat near the top. One I had definitely never seen before. He smiles more here. My chest tightened. Because I hadn't even downloaded the app a year earlier. I checked more memories. 3 years ago. Holiday pictures. Family photos. University. Each one. Translation overlays. Different messages. Hidden. Subtle. Always about me. Always impossible. Some were harmless. He needs more sleep. He likes this song. He's happier today. Others made my skin crawl. He doesn't see US. He never looks long enough. He always deletes them. I stopped checking. Deleted the app entirely. For 2 weeks everything felt normal. Then my mom called. "Can you help me?" She was trying to translate something on a food label. Nothing unusual. She handed me her phone. Different brand. Different translation app. I pointed the camera and nearly dropped it. Because before the label translated, another message appeared. Clear as day. Bright white. "We missed you." I immediately backed away. "What?" My mom looked confused. "What? You didn't see that?" "See what?" The label translated normally. Nothing else. I laughed nervously. Made some excuse. Went home. That night I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m. I remembered the abandoned station. The sign. The maintenance door. The message. Don't go down there. Out of curiosity, I opened Google Maps. Found the place. Street view wasn't available, but someone had uploaded photos. Old reviews. I scrolled through them. One image showed the exact sign. Same angle. Same door. And someone had commented beneath it. Posted 4 years earlier. My blood ran cold, because the comment read, "Does anyone know why my translation app keeps saying, 'Don't go down there'?" There were no replies. Just another review. 3 years later. Different person. Different account. Different phone. Same complaint. Anyone else getting weird translation messages here? Heart pounding. I opened the oldest image. Uploaded 9 years earlier. Long before modern translation apps even had camera mode. The photograph was blurry. Taken on an old phone. But hanging above the maintenance door. Clear as day. Someone had written something in permanent marker. 3 words. Exactly where the overlay always appeared. Not in another language. English. I stared at the image for nearly a minute. Because the words weren't a warning. They weren't keep out. They weren't danger. They simply said, "Thank you for reading." Story 4. Offline language pack. I downloaded the language pack because I thought I'd lose signal. That was the only reason. I was flying to Turkey for 10 days and didn't want to rely on mobile data. So before leaving I downloaded Turkish offline translation. Simple. The app even told me the file size. About 800 megabytes. Nothing unusual. The trip was great. I used the app a few times. Restaurants. Directions. Taxi fares. Normal stuff. When I got back to England, I forgot about it. The language pack stayed on my phone. No reason to remove it. Then 2 months later, my phone's storage started acting strange. I'd delete videos. Storage would free up, then somehow fill up again. At first I blamed WhatsApp, then photos, then Spotify downloads. Nothing explained it. Eventually I checked the storage breakdown and frowned, because according to my phone, the translation app occupied almost 6 gigabytes. That didn't make sense. I opened the settings. The Turkish language pack alone now measured 5.8 gigabytes. Impossible. I deleted it. Problem solved. Or so I thought. The next morning, it was back. Downloaded automatically. 5.8 gigabytes. I checked Wi-Fi usage. Nothing. No download history. No background activity. No explanation. I deleted it again. Same thing. By the 3rd day, curiosity outweighed annoyance. I clicked on the language pack itself. To my surprise, a menu appeared. One I'd never seen before. Offline phrase data. I frowned. Underneath sat a number. Saved phrases. 3,421. My stomach tightened. 3,000. I'd barely used the thing. Curious, I opened the list. The first entries looked harmless. Where is the station? How much is this? Can I pay by card? Normal holiday phrases. Then things got strange. The timestamps. Most entries had been created after I'd returned home. Many at times when I was asleep. 2:17 a.m. 3:42 a.m. 4:06 a.m. Hundreds of them. I scrolled further. The phrases became increasingly personal. I forgot to buy milk. The neighbors are arguing again. I hate Mondays. My chest tightened. Because I'd actually said those things. Not into the app. Just out loud. To myself. Over the next hour I read hundreds more. Some were things I'd complained about. Others were thoughts I'd spoken under my breath. And every phrase had been translated into Turkish. Then another language. Then another. German. Japanese. Arabic. Russian. Dozens. I immediately revoked microphone access. Deleted the app. Factory reset my phone. And forgot about it. Until 3 weeks later. My new phone gave me a low storage warning. I froze. Because I'd never installed the app. Yet somehow, there it was. Same account. Same language pack. Same size. 5.8 gigabytes. My stomach dropped. The saved phrases had increased. Now, 4,107. Against every bit of common sense, I opened them. The latest phrase had been created 2 hours earlier, while I was asleep. Translation: he talks in his sleep. I felt cold. Another entry. 1 minute later. No, not tonight. Another. He's dreaming again. The timestamps all sat between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Every night. Hundreds of them. And they weren't translations anymore. They looked like conversations. Different speakers. Different responses. Like transcripts. Then I noticed something disturbing. The phrases weren't all translated into human languages. Several entries listed the destination language as unavailable. Others said unsupported. And dozens simply read unknown. Curiosity got the better of me. I tapped one. Instead of words, strange symbols filled the screen. Nothing recognizable. No letters. No numbers. Just patterns. Yet beneath them sat an English translation. My blood ran cold. Because the translation read, "He can't understand US yet." I slammed the phone down. Didn't touch it for 2 days. Then my friend Bilal came over. I told him everything. Naturally, he laughed. Until I showed him. He stopped smiling immediately. Because right in front of us, without touching the screen, the phrase counter changed. 4,108. Then, 4,109. Another phrase appeared. Timestamp. Current time. Bilal stared. So, who's making these? Neither of us answered. Then another phrase arrived. Created live. Destination language. Unknown. The symbols appeared, followed by the English translation. 2 of them now. Bilal immediately stood up. Bro, delete that. I did. App gone. Account deleted. Everything. For 6 months, nothing happened. No strange phrases. No storage issues. Nothing. Eventually I convinced myself I'd imagined the whole thing. Then last month I bought a new laptop. Brand new. Fresh setup. No backups restored. Nothing transferred. While checking storage, I noticed a folder. Not hidden. Just sitting there. Name. Language files. Size. 11.3 gigabytes. Heart pounding, I opened it. Inside sat thousands of text files. Every single one named with timestamps. The newest file had been created 5 minutes earlier. I opened it. No strange symbols. No foreign languages. Just one sentence. Plain English. No translation needed. No destination language listed. Nothing. Just a line of text. And beneath it, the cursor was still blinking. As though whoever had written it hadn't finished yet. The sentence read, "He's reading faster now." Story 5. Saved phrases. I didn't even know the feature existed. That's the truth. Apparently, most translation apps let you save useful phrases. Things like, "Where's the nearest station?" "Can I pay by card?" "Do you speak English?" Stuff people use while traveling. I had no reason to use it. I downloaded the app years ago, used it a handful of times, and mostly forgot it existed. So when I accidentally opened the saved phrases section one evening, I expected it to be empty. Instead, there were 763 entries. My stomach tightened, because I had never saved a single one. At first, I thought maybe I'd tapped the star icon by accident over the years. The earliest phrases looked harmless. How much does this cost? Where is the hotel? Thank you. Nothing strange. Nothing creepy. Just travel phrases. Until I noticed something. The timestamps. Most of them had been saved recently. Not years ago. Days ago. And some were being created while I was asleep. 2:43 a.m. 3:17 a.m. 4:01 a.m. Dozens of them. Every night. Curious, I started reading. The newer phrases felt oddly personal. "I'm too tired today. I should call my mother. I hate this weather." Things I actually said. Not into the app. Not allowed to anybody. Just random thoughts I'd muttered to myself. My chest tightened. Then I reached one created earlier that afternoon. Timestamp. 5:14 p.m. Phrase. "The bus is late again." I froze. Because I'd said those exact words while standing alone at the bus stop. No one nearby. No phone in my hand. No translation app open. Nothing. I immediately checked permissions. Microphone disabled. Background refresh off. Location off. Everything disabled. Yet somehow the list kept growing. That night, I sat and watched. At exactly 1:06 a.m., the number changed. 763, 764. A new phrase appeared. Live. My blood ran cold. I opened it. His waiting. I stared. Then another. 764, 765. Still reading. And another. 765, 766. Good. I slammed the phone down. Heart pounding. Because nobody should have been able to create phrases. Not without touching the app. I deleted all 766 entries. Every single one. Satisfied, I went to bed. The next morning there were 767. Every phrase had returned. Plus one more. The newest entry read, "That was rude." I felt sick. For the next week, I ignored the app. Pretended it didn't exist. But every now and then curiosity got the better of me. The number kept climbing. 780, 812, 940, over 1,000. And the phrases changed. They no longer looked like things I would have said. Instead, they looked like conversations. Questions. Responses. Comments. Different tones. Different personalities. Like multiple people sharing the same notebook. He doesn't notice. He deleted them again. Give him time. He always comes back. Then one night, unable to sleep, I decided to test something. At 2 a.m. I sat in silence. No TV. No music. No phone sounds. Nothing. And I watched the counter. 1,124. Then, 1,124. 1,125. A new phrase. Created live. The room is darker tonight. My chest tightened. Another. 1,125. 1,126. He's wearing headphones. I slowly removed them. Another phrase appeared almost immediately. 1,126. 1,127. Better. I genuinely stopped breathing. Because I hadn't touched the phone. Then another. 1,127. 1,128. He's frightened now. I switched the phone off completely. And for the first time in years, I slept with the lights on. The next morning I factory reset the device. Deleted the app. Changed accounts. Everything. Problem solved. Or so I thought. 3 months later I bought a new phone. Fresh account. Fresh setup. No backups. No data transfer. Nothing. Everything felt normal again. Until one afternoon at university. A girl sitting next to me in the library asked for help translating something. She handed me her phone. Different brand. Different account. Different app. I typed the sentence for her. And accidentally hit the star icon. Saved phrases opened. My blood ran cold. Because right at the top, above all her entries, sat a phrase. Timestamp. 1 minute ago. Saved by. Unknown. And the English translation read. He looks healthier. I nearly dropped her phone. She frowned. You okay? I nodded. Handed it back. Went home. And tried very hard to forget. Until last month. I was cleaning my laptop when I found an old backup folder. Inside it sat a text file. Simple. Small. Created 3 years earlier. Long before I'd ever downloaded a translation app. Its name was saved_phrases.txt. Heart pounding. I opened it. Thousands of entries. Pages and pages. Years of timestamps. Years before I owned a smartphone. Years before I even started university. The very first entry had been created in 2008. I would have been 4 years old. And the phrase read, too small. The next entry, 2 years later. Still not him. Then another. And another. One every few years. Like somebody checking in. Waiting. Watching. until eventually I reached the most recent phrase. Timestamp. Current time. Not minutes ago. Not earlier today. Current time. The cursor blinked, and the words appeared slowly, letter by letter, as though somebody else was typing. I watched the sentence finish itself. Then another line appeared beneath it, and another. By the time I finally shut the laptop, 3 phrases sat on the screen. The first read, "He's reading them now." The second, "Finally." And the third, the one I still think about every night, simply said, "Save this one." Translation apps are supposed to break down language barriers. They help people communicate, understand each other, and make sense of things they normally couldn't. But eventually, you stop thinking about what they are actually doing, because every translation starts with one simple idea. Something is trying to say something, and most of the time, that something is another person. But sometimes, messages appear that nobody remembers writing. Languages appear that nobody recognizes, and conversations continue, even after you've stopped listening. There are more stories like this on my channel. If you're willing to keep reading, subscribe. If you think you can handle the next one, I'll see you again, assuming nothing translates your name first.